So here's the official greeting. Oh, it says something else. I can't turn my... Here's the official greeting. Hello, I'm Candle Summers. It's great to see you. Hi, B. Hi, Had. Hi, Bill. I'm sort of scrolling along. Hi, Carmen. Fantastic to see you all here. And I really appreciate the opportunity to offer the Dhamma here in the morning group when I have the excitement of getting up this early. My days of getting up this early have sort of been over, but I'm really proud of all of you for managing to get up and be here, because it's such a generous act, really, of giving yourself the gift of sitting together and listening to the gift of the Dhamma being offered by someone. And so for that, I am in great gratitude. And I also really appreciate the variety of folks and the amount of folks who came to our community gathering the other night on Tuesday night, where we had some conversation about the survey and heard some response from you, much appreciated, which we'll probably talk about this Saturday when we have our diversity, equity, and inclusion meeting. And also with that in mind, in case there's anyone new, I just want to let you all know that PIMC is committed to making the exploration of the practices and the teachings of the Buddha relevant and accessible in today's world. And it's important to welcome all people of every age and ethnicity, cultural heritage, and religious background, socioeconomic group, abilities, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And in this way, we really aspire to follow in the footsteps of the Buddha, who offered his teachings of awakening and freedom freely to everyone without exception. And so that's why we provide a donation link somewhere along the line, and are supported by the generosity of others, and like to be open to all in that time-honored teaching. So I was inspired by yesterday morning's sit where someone was talking about joy, and I'm going to be leading the Sunday Sangha, so I think I'll do a longer conversation on joy and various places that the Buddha addresses our true joy, our true happiness. But I found one of the poems, one of my favorite poems, that's by Gendun Rinpoche. And so I thought I'd start by reading it this morning. How's the volume for my microphone and all that? Okay, thanks, Joy. You were the one of the inspiration. So here's this poem. Settle back, close your eyes, let the words just fall over you. It's a fairly long poem. Not really long, but I probably will not read it twice. Happiness cannot be found through great effort and willpower, for it is already present in relaxation and letting go. So don't strain yourself, for there is nothing to do. Whatever arises in the mind has no real importance, for it has no lasting reality. Don't be attached to it. Don't identify with it, and don't pass judgment upon it. Without changing or manipulating anything, let the entire game of life happen on its own, springing up and falling back like waves. Everything vanishes and reappears, magically without end. Our searching for happiness prevents us from being it, like rainbows that we pursue without ever catching. What is real already exists, always here, accompanying us in every instant. Wanting to grasp the ungraspable, you exhaust yourself in vain. As soon as you can open and relax, space is here, open, inviting, and comfortable. Don't search any further. Don't go into the tangled jungle looking for the great elephant who's already resting quietly at home. Nothing to do, nothing to force, nothing to want, everything to happen by itself. That's Gendun Rinpoche. So let me find my bell, make sure my original sound is on, and let's take some time to sit again, letting ourselves relax. Nothing to do, nothing to force, nothing to want. Everything is happening by itself. Taking this time to settle into our bodies in the chair or on the cushion where we're resting. Gathering ourselves into our noble position, our noble seat. Taking this time to pay homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the safety and the containment. The Buddha, the fundamental awakeness, which is ever present and always available within us. An appreciation to the Dhamma, freely and fearlessly really meeting the way things are right now, the truth of the Dhamma that the Buddha discovered by seeing things clearly, understanding the true nature of suffering, arising and passing away. And the Sangha, our intimate and infinite connections, our connectedness to all beings, and particularly to those who went before us, passing on orally and then written the teachings that were remembered in a format that was easy to transmit for those with fantastic memories, all the way down to us and this Sangha, this family, and the welcoming of all in this family gathering together. We may notice as we begin to settle into our seated posture, tensions that might be in the body, tightness that could be in the mind. And we can take a moment or two to let a sense of relaxation flow through the body. Relaxing behind the eyes. Letting that sense of ease flow around the face, the temples, the jaw. Allowing ourselves to feel the natural rhythms of the body. Gravity holding us in our seat. Letting that flow of relaxation at whatever pace works for you flow through your shoulders and down your spine and through your hips. Feeling the feet on the floor or wherever they touch. Noticing sensations of pressure. There might be density or tingling. There could be lightness. Sensations flowing through the body. And depending on how you like to begin your sit, you can proceed at the way that's comfortable for you and just let my voice be sound coming to the ears, arriving and passing away. And if you'd like a little instruction, I will mention the opportunity to pay attention to the breath. If we choose a single object, sometimes at first, it helps the body calm and the mind calm. The body can get stiller, the mind can get a little calmer if we attend to a single object. And that object can be the breath at a single point at the nostrils, or the belly, noticing pressure at the belly when the breath comes in, and the release of that pressure when the breath goes out. We can also use a sitting point, a touch point, maybe where the hands are touching or where the buttocks is touching the chair. And we can use this as a place to return to when the mind goes off wandering. We can wake up in that moment of awareness and come back to this single object to help develop continuity of practice. Mindfulness is present and mindfulness is aware of whatever is in our field. We may notice sensations in the body presenting themselves when we settle down. And we can just notice that sensation, bringing mindfulness there, bringing awareness to it. And with a relaxed, open mind, attending to the breath, noticing sometimes there's a long breath, sometimes there's a short breath, without manipulating the breath, but being present purely with knowing the breath. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in a short breath or a long breath. And breathing out, knowing I'm breathing out a short breath or a long breath. And we can hold ourselves in that sense of relaxation and gentleness, kindness. The importance of the intention in our practice when we start, and the gentleness and ease that we can show ourselves for this generous act of training the mind, being with what arises, noticing thoughts that arise that might be unskillful thoughts that could lead to our suffering, guiding the mind toward skillful thoughts, those of loving kindness and compassion. This confidence in seeing mindfully what arises can build faith in the repetition of mindful moments and the skillful mind state of just the right amount of effort and energy to be interested in what is present. We roam off in our thinking to thoughts about the past and planning for the future, and we can just gently bring ourselves back to this single object of the breath or the sit point, or a more open spaciousness, feeling the entire body breathing. And whatever is in our open field of awareness, we can attend to, but gently, and with just enough effort to be interested. And this can develop continued concentration. Mindfulness is present. And as concentration develops, wisdom arises to see clearly that whatever arises, we can stay with it and connect with it, sustain our attention with it until it flows away. And we can see that if we grasp or cling onto something that might be pleasant or might be unpleasant, that eventually it changes. We can't really call it our own. It arises due to conditions, lasts for a certain amount of time, and passes away. And seeing this clearly is understanding suffering. That clinging and craving tend to cause us suffering. And the gladdening of the heart, knowing that there's a path. And the gladdening of the heart of waking up each moment that we wake up to the present. It can brighten the heart and bring great joy. Sometimes we can ask ourselves, what is happening right now? What is the attitude of the mind? And often if we're lost in thought or having complicated emotions arise or difficulty in the body, often as soon as we ask, what's happening in the mind right now? Any of that tension and contraction can often, just fall away gently. Or if we have moments when thinking predominates, mindfulness is the clear and silent awareness that we are thinking. Thoughts can come and go as they wish, and we don't need to become involved with them. We're not really interested in engaging in the content of our thoughts. But mindfulness of thinking is simply recognizing that we are thinking. And when thoughts are subtle and in the background, or when random thoughts pull us away from awareness of the present, all we have to do is resume the mindfulness of the breath. Wake up in that very moment and notice what's happening in the body, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Sometimes if we have strong bouts of thinking, sometimes we notice that they're fueled by this identification and preoccupation with our thoughts. And if we clearly observe our thinking, we can step outside of that identification. And often the thinking will soften to a calmer, more unobtrusive stream. All the while reminding ourselves, knowing as I breathe in, I'm breathing in a long breath or a short breath. And as I breathe out, I'm breathing out a long breath or a short breath. Gladdening the mind in each of those moments that awareness is present. We're just relaxing, holding ourselves in kindness, letting mindfulness be at the fore and awareness present with whatever comes in to the body and to the mind, without expectations of controlling the experience. just paying attention. When we're relaxed yet alert, it's much easier to be aware. Not so much effort is required, and it can become enjoyable, a pleasant and an interesting experience. It doesn't require much energy, just enough to be present. The innate nature of our mind is wakefulness. Where nothing is created, there aren't conditions. Just bare awareness. And we want to be present for this and allow for it to unfold. Because then we're able to see that wisdom can be present, noticing skillful and unskillful, noticing if there are defilements that come and go of greed and aversion and delusion, grasping, doubting. Mindfulness is there, awareness is there. Wisdom arises and can investigate. It's wisdom that sees clearly. And with that awareness, we have the faith, the confidence, and motivation to keep exploring and moving into the unknown and uncharted regions of our minds. Letting our heart and mind be balanced and strong. Finding joy and awakening, brightening, gladdening the mind when we see clearly those moments of our suffering, those moments of our joy. We just continue waking up in each moment. If we're lost or confused or not quite sure where we are or have lost our attention, we just begin again easily. And as the mind becomes balanced and strong and awareness becomes easeful and natural, wisdom is always available without effort. No effort is required, it just arises. And when this observing heart and mind gets stronger, wisdom can deal more easily with greed and anger and delusion. And insight can arise. And experiencing our reality with a lens of insight can have a profound effect on our lives and our practice and the way that we view the world, the way that we are in the world. And so with gladness and relaxation that's still aware of whatever arises, seeing its impermanent nature, watching it clearly, being with it as it passes. We can do all of this in a sense of kindness for ourselves, a kind of ease, relaxed nature. And letting that kindness, that gentle joy that we can hold in our hearts, letting it permeate our being, that we may see our suffering clearly and be free of suffering. Through recognition, may we take care of ourselves happily. May we have ease in our lives. May we have compassion for ourselves when things are difficult. May we hold ourselves gently through challenges. And may we nurture equanimity so that we don't fall into extremes. Noticing those joyous moments that arise, calling upon them later, remembering our good deeds, the kindness that we've shown to others, and the kindnesses that others have shown to us. Nurturing these skillful states of heart. That from this, in our spaciousness, in the container of our hearts and bodies, may we let this sense of goodwill flow to others. Letting this kindness flow to our teachers, our friends, seeing one individually or seeing a group, a teacher or a friend. letting this kindness include them, and the karuna, the compassion. May you hold yourself with compassion when difficulty arises. And may you notice moments of joy, upliftment in the heart, and may equanimity be present. And as we nurture these Brahmaviharas, these emotions worth having, may we let this feeling of kindness flow to a neutral person or neutral people. Nurturing the heart to stay open, nurturing this spaciousness within our being to allow kindness and compassion, joy and equanimity to include others that we don't know, neutral people and perhaps a difficult person or difficult people. Knowing just as I wish to be happy, you also wish to be happy. And from this sense of unconditional well-wishing, goodwill, may we include all beings, those seen and unseen, those known and unknown, those that are liberated and those who are not, those that swim and walk and crawl and fly. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from enmity and danger. Understand their true nature. Anicca vata sankhara upadavaya domino upakita va meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. All conditioned things arise and pass away. And seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. And may the merits of our practice, the goodness of our practice, benefit all beings. Thank you for your practice. Letting the sound of the bell come gently to the ears. Letting the sound arise at the ear door. And as our eyes gently open and allow them to fall upon each other in the group, much gratitude and thankfulness to each other, kindness. Knowing that we share in this experience together. And in the goodwill of sharing, I have a couple of things to share from PIMC, and I have a couple of photographs to share from Robert, if I can find them on my computer. So I'll just start by mentioning, if you haven't heard, that there's a new weekly Dharma group that's starting up, Be Queer Now, and it's it's an affinity meditation group, and it's going to start on February 13th on Sunday, 6:30 to 8. There's an announcement on the website about it, and it's welcome for all LGBTQIA community for weekly meditation and poetry and Dharma chats. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or new to PIMC, everyone is welcome. It's being facilitated by Birch and Kat Saleh. I don't know if either of you are here this morning. If you want to say something, you can unmute yourselves. I don't see you, though. Oh, there's some announcement coming up on my calendar. So let me go for a second to the website and see what I might be able to tell you about that you haven't already heard. We still have Gregory available on Wednesdays with Wednesday Wake Up. He's has a podcast, so if you can use your device to find the podcast, whatever stream you like listening to, Wake Up Wednesday is available on a podcast. And we have Jim giving one of his fantastic Qigong half days coming up on Saturday the 19th. So that's in a couple weeks. And we're always still looking for support for the reopening. It's getting closer, so if you haven't looked yet on the website, there's a section in green for being able to look and sign up. And also the constant opportunity for your generosity and sharing. If you really enjoy the Sangha together and want to continue supporting the teachings that are offered freely, and it is your dana and your support that helps carry on the center and helps carry on the teachings, and it's such a blessing to have community support. And not only that, it brings gladness to the heart, and it brings happiness. And when the mind is happy, the body can be tranquil. And the body's tranquil, we can feel pleasure. And that pleasure brings the mind into concentration, and that brings about all of the spiritual faculties. And so our generosity is the foundation of our own realization of the Buddha's teachings. And I will put in the chat, if I can open up my screen enough to do that, the website. Make sure it goes to everyone. Let's see if this did it. Yep, there it is. Oh, bye, Denise, new lambs to care for. So I communicated a little bit with Robert, and I don't know if he posted these anywhere, but he sent a video. Let me see where the heck I put it. Ah, there it is. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Hi, Doug. I see you down there. Welcome. Eric and Christopher. I always like seeing everybody. Okay, here we have in my photo library, which I think you can now see. There's nothing to hear. So here he is in Costa Rica in a tram. A slow-moving tram over the canopy of the forest. Jim, I know you said you had to go, so whenever you have to bow out. Much appreciation for you. Very green and very alive. So you can bet he's quite happy.
Thanks, Candle. I couldn't get that to run on my machine, so very good.
And now I'm going to see if I can find these other ones, because it's humorous in its own little way. Here's one. Sharing the screen. Here we go. Okay, who knows what this is? Anybody know? I know it's hiding very coyly. It's a sloth. It's a sloth. Okay, now, see if I can find the other one. This is going to be a bigger test. Where is it? Where is it? But if you didn't know that one, you might not know this one. What is this?
A tapir.
Very good, Sherry. And what do we have when we put these two things together? Sloth and tapir.
Perfect.
There you have it. How many people suffered from sloth and tapir this morning? How many of us had nodding heads and woke up whenever we could to the present moment? So how was your sitting this morning, and what would you like to share with me and with each other? I'd love to hear from you, always like to. Any noticing of those 5 faculties of faith and energy and mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, all coming together? Or any difficulties arising in having kindness or compassion and noticing joy for yourself or someone else?
Well, my internet connection just disappeared for a moment, so I never know how long it's going to hang on. I notice in my meditations, in my sitting, any tension that I have seems always to be in my mouth, in my lips. Mm-hmm. And I've looked at that a lot, and I have no idea what it is. And this morning, I lost all sense of having a mouth. I had nothing from my breathing through my nostrils down. It just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did you have an opinion about that when you noticed?
No.
Huh.
Just how that was. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wondered where it went.
Thinking started occurring. Yeah, those moments of just noticing the purity of awareness are fleeting, but being present with what's happening, and that's just in that case, there was an awareness of the purity of the body, of not grasping onto a condition. Bye, Joe. Nope, Joe just waved goodbye. Thanks for sharing that, Sherry.
Hi, it's Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
I just wanted to share, I've been having kind of a crummy week and crummy couple of weeks, and there's been this big resurrection of my very familiar old habitual sort of self-denigration and feelings of letting people down and just sort of not making the, and I've been feeling pretty low. And yesterday I reached out to a friend just to kind of get out of my own head and just say, hey, how you doing? And it turns out she has been having a much crummier time. I found out yesterday she's in like an outpatient treatment psychiatric situation. So she's not been doing very well. And we had the most lovely, wonderful catch up of of authenticity and just sharing sort of our underbellies, if you will, and just being like, oh, yep, I do that too. What about this? Oh, yep, that's one of mine too. And we were just very sort of authentic about a lot of our flaws and a lot of our sort of self-care failings and just these little sort of mental health things that creep up when things get hard. And it was so lovely to catch up and to reconnect. And we both ended up just feeling so much better. And it made me realize that the Sangha is not just the people that meditate, that the Sangha is like the people that you have access to. And they're all able to be teachers, even if they have never sat on a cushion in their life. And it's just so nice to have that genuine connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like with, and the sort of content of which was all of our flaws, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So,
yeah. Thank you, Jamie. It's always nice to hear from you. All of our ups and downs shared, you're right, shared with each other and shared with our larger Sangha as a whole. I'm glad you had that opportunity to be really present for each other. And may you rest in some peace of knowing that there are many others in your Sangha wishing you to be free from your suffering and wishing you joy and kindness and equanimity. Francine, you're in a different room than I'm used to seeing you in. It's not all pink. Usually I see all pink behind you.
Yeah, there's a different light. Shirley, this morning I have a house guest. So I'm sitting in my room, not in the living room downstairs, which has those sort of apricot colored walls. Yeah. I just to follow up with that last comment, what I have found, and certainly this is because of being quarantined for several years, is I'm not really interested anymore in any non-authentic communication. So I find myself somewhat impatient with kind of what I judge as sort of trivia. And given that I'm such an extrovert, I used to relish it, anything, everything, talk about anything. And now I'm quite impatient with it. I think I'm just not interested in the detritus of people's lives. So I started judging myself about that.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because somehow that feels like not like compassion to listen to other stories. I just don't have the bandwidth for it. It doesn't feel authentic. I don't really want to hear about your neighbor's dog truck garbage cans. Like, really? Might go there. Tell me something real.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't sense there were tears behind that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about the self-judging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear you, Francine. Yep. It's not easy when we've been alone the way we've been for so long, and our minds get a little quieter, and what we want to attend to gets more specific. And it's the hard part is having that judgment for yourself about it. That's causes an upwelling of emotion, and all of it is part of the practice. All of it is part of the practice. Holding yourself in compassion too for the difficulty that you feel around it all. And yet we know how much we need each other in the long run. I'm sure you love and care for your neighbors and their garbage can and their dogs.
Of course. Of course. That's easy. You know,
you just don't really want to hear about it all the time. Try not to be hard on yourself, though.
Right. I think I don't have that tolerance for, the whiners or crybabies that haven't done any work around it. I wanna shout out, can't you hear yourself? Can't you see this? And of course I don't. I would step away from it instead. I don't wanna bring it in.
Yeah.
Feels like my filters, to sort of stop that balderall that comes from too many places. It's I don't have the capacity anymore because I'm not going to solve anything. I think that's it. I used to be like, wow, how can I fix this? How can I make this better? What can I do? And now it's like, not my thing, not my thing, that's not my thing either.
Yeah, it's interesting to use it as practice. I notice for me that same sort of thing comes up, and I have a kind of impatience. And if I turn the attention to myself in my body, and what do I notice, I can usually connect with the agitation in my mind that I notice. If I turn it on a practice for myself, oh, this is agitation in the mind, and I'm causing myself suffering when this agitation arises and I'm grasping on to wanting somebody to be some way, and like you said, we acknowledge that they're living their life and it's their karma, how they're living. But for it to be a personal practice for me, dealing with the agitated mind, I myself have to kind of step back from my agitation or my disappointment or my what it is I'm grasping on to that I want to have happening, and see if there's some space around that I can create for myself to still have a kind of equanimity and kindness and even compassion for myself around this tightness that's happening in my mind when that sort of situation arises. I really know what you're talking about.
It definitely feels related to the amount of time that I spent in quiet and solitude over the last couple of years. I think I used to use, I had such a big social life that it was easy to just have it in the melee of life business. And now it's become a sort of crystallized as to what is. And I don't love seeing what is so much. I just can't take it on.
Yeah. And you don't need to. You don't need to. Your goal is to about noticing your own suffering and what causes it, and the freedom in noticing that. And that might just be more quiet time. There's always room for compassion for other people's suffering, though. As well as your own.
Thank you, Kendall.
Thank you for sharing. Wow. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else have something bubbling in your heart and mind? I see you hiding back there, David Butler. Just teasing you. You don't have to show your face. Well, it may be time for us to say farewell. Another day of unfolding in front of us. May we find ways of holding ourselves in kindness and notice those moments of joy when they arise, and letting our habits of grasping and clinging be noticed, and notice also when they dissipate on their own. May all beings be happy. Shall we try it? May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Great to see you, Eric and Christopher and Frank and Jamie. Thanks for hanging in there. Tamara and Picasso.
Be well,
Thank you,
Francine.
Miss Kendall.
Great. See you again on Friday.
Love you guys all.
Mm-hmm.
Francie,
Bye.
girl, hang in there.
Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Hadley.
Mwah. I love the
Bye,
picture.
bye,
of
Jamie Octopus.
the
Yeah.
sloth and the tape bear.
Yeah, wasn't that cute?
Those were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Thank you all.